So far on the course, we've covered adding CPUs, HMIs, and other Siemens-related hardware. But what if we want to add something that isn't Siemens, or Siemens only offer as an extension to their catalog through something called GSD files? Now, GSD files are general station description files, and most of the time you actually find them as XML files that are prefixed as GSD files. So in order to add those, if you come to your Manage General Station Description Files in your options, it will open a window where you can point a source path to where your GSD file is stored or downloaded to. And typically the process would be that you go onto a manufacturer's website that you're trying to integrate into your system, download the GSD file for Profibus or Profinet, and then you would place it at this source address. So in here, I have a GSDML, which is the XML version of a GSD file, and it's for an AC14 from IFM. So if I click the tick box on the left-hand side and click install, this will start the installation process for this particular device. And some, depending on what GSD file you're installing or how many you're trying to install, some may take quite a while to actually be integrated into the system and added to the catalog. Some files will also install more than one item. So a GSD file could be a collection of different assets, or it could just be one thing. So once it's completed, we get a little message and you can go and install additional files if required. I close this now. It will update the hardware catalog so that we can actually select this new hardware in our device management. Now that that is complete, we can go into our devices and networks and actually have a look at the newly installed hardware. So if I go to my hardware catalog, now one of the frustrating things about GSD files is you don't necessarily know where the information has been put. Depending on what type of device it is, it should fall into one of these categories. I'm fairly certain that this has fallen into other field devices. It will be in Profinet IO, gateways, IFM, IFM electronic, ATI interface, and these are the GSD files or the assets that I've just installed. And what the GSD file does is tell Tier Portal all about the configuration requirements for this particular asset, so that when I drop it in to my devices and networks, it knows what to load, what options are required, whether it needs parameters setting for X, Y, or Z, how many interfaces it's got. It's all that sort of information. And if I have a look at the properties for this device, we can see that we have a familiar setup of our general tab with catalog information, etc. And then our Profinet interface and the interface options that are relative to this particular asset. I'm not going to go through and describe what this asset does or anything like that, but I am just showing you that the GSD file is what's responsible for populating this particular interface. And that's it for really adding anything to the system via GSD, but something that I will just touch on is how to uninstall them as well. So if you come back to Options, Manage General Station Descriptions, ticking the box and going to Delete, that will remove it from Tier Portal's hardware catalog. You can also click on this tab here for GSDs in the project. And if you click Find Unused GSDs, if you had things in here that are actually used, so don't get confused between installed into Tier Portal and used in the project. Right now, our project doesn't have any requirements to use any GSD files. But if it did use a GSD file, then we can click Find Unused GSDs, and it should search for anything that is unused so we can remove it. And if anything is required, you'll be either told that the GSD can't be found in the project. This is for if you're opening a project that someone else has sent you or you've downloaded or anything like that, that you need to go away and get the GSD. for that file, or in a lot of cases, when you install a GSD file, it's stored in the additional files for the actual project. So it's retained by the project, which means if somebody else opens it, it will automatically install the GSD. Hopefully, that any project that you download or have sent to you, or through revision control systems and things like that, people have left in the GSD files so you don't have to hunt them down later, because that can be quite problematic. And that's it for GSD files. Now you know how to add all of the main components that you're likely to need for a TIA Portal project.